On this special edition of Lexington Now, the Town Branch Trail, a council member is moving on and parks activities during the pandemic. Welcome to Lexington Now for the week of July 13th, 2020. I'm your host, Neil Noah. Bringing a trail system through downtown has long been a goal of Lexington planners, and there's a bit of good news about the Town Branch Trail.
Welcome to a beautiful day in downtown Lexington. And yes, we have a little traffic next to us, but we'll work around that. And as you look around downtown, you see lots of construction, and that equals progress for our city. In fact, trails are busting out all over downtown. The trail plans we've been working on for decades are really coming together this summer. Construction on Town Branch Commons, the Legacy Trail, and Town Branch Trail completes 22 miles of uninterrupted trails that will take cyclists and walkers from Lexington's urban core into the beautiful bluegrass and beyond. These trails will bring exciting new opportunities for our citizens to get outside and to get exercise. And so this morning, I want to talk briefly about each trail under construction. Town Branch Commons Trail features continuous bike and walking paths, a lush green band through downtown. It will connect new and exciting parks and diverse neighborhoods and will improve our water quality. You can watch the progress. Right now, contractors are finishing up work on Newtown Pike and starting work on Vine Street. These renderings that we have up here, particularly this one next to me, give you an idea of what Vine Street and Midland Avenue will look like after construction is complete. And completion is anticipated by the end of 2022. Now let's talk about the Legacy Trail. This is our longest trail. The final 2 miles are under construction from 5th Street at Jefferson to the Isaac Murphy Memorial Art Garden at 3rd and Midland. It's expected to be completed by this September. The Legacy Trail offers opportunities to enjoy the bluegrass landscape that has made us world famous. It stretches from downtown to the Kentucky Horse Park. And finally, the Town Branch Trail. Work started on this trail in 2005, and we've been chipping away at it piece by piece. It will connect downtown to the Distillery District, McConnell Springs, and Masterson Station Park. Along the way are historic sites, neighborhoods, and parks. The trail follows the westward course of the Town Branch of Elkhorn Creek. Right now, there's a 1.2 mile section under construction stretching from Oliver Lewis Way to Forbes Road. That construction is expected to be complete by this December.
We decided that despite our humble origins, that little creek called the Town Branch that our whole city was laid out on was worth remembering. And it was worth reorienting and re-engineering our city to this creek corridor so that people and bikes and, shade trees watered by the creek could be redeveloped. And that's what we're celebrating today. And I am so grateful to the whole city and to, I think it's been about 8 or 10 councils now, and 6 mayors and countless governors. There has been a long list of people who could have laughed at this vision, this improbable vision, but they said, why not? And there are innumerable problems that are still, by Brandy and Keith and so many other people, being wrestled out, and the knots are being unraveled to solve problems, to make this a continuous corridor. But it's being done because we have a bedrock of vision and a spirit of generosity in this city. And I'm really, really grateful for this day. Thank you.
We've been standing up here. But as you've just heard, Lexington is aspiring to create a people-first, family-friendly downtown that's welcoming to all. And I'm excited to celebrate the construction of all 3 of these projects today because they add to that vision. Today is a milestone moment for this critical infrastructure in our city's downtown parks, public spaces, and trail systems. When these public space projects when they were started years ago, we knew there would be benefits. That was no doubt in our mind as we started them. But now, more than ever, in light of our current environment, we see how our community is relying on public spaces for our physical and mental well-being. And this network of projects will offer new opportunities for our community once they're completed.
One of Lexington's council members has announced her resignation as she pursues a longtime goal. It was announced in a press event at City Hall.
Serving as a 6th District council member has been an amazing and humbling experience. As former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said, public service truly is the greatest challenge and the greatest honor. And I ran for office because I wanted to make change. I wanted to be a part of solutions for Lexington. I wanted it to be a place that everyone could work, play, and live. I wanted to help connect citizens to government and help empower my constituents to help create the community and the neighborhood that they wanted. And I hope I've achieved that goal. Today, that I announce with some sadness, but overwhelming excitement, that I will be attending Princeton University's Public and International Affairs School to pursue a Master in Public Policy. It is the big society issues that I have longed to work on. Issues that have been brought to the forefront because of the COVID pandemic. The deficiencies and disparities, racial disparities in our healthcare system, the importance of dispelling mental illness stigmas, and the racial and economic inequities that are embedded in our judicial system. All of them require changes to our public policy. Effective policies are the tools that governments have to address these problems, and that they evolve our society and bring transparency to government when needed. Learning about public policy from some of the brightest minds from across the world was simply an opportunity that I could not resist. I'm extremely thankful for each one of you who have supported me from the very first day of my very first campaign, and all of the supporters and encouragers that I've gotten to know over the last 6 years. And I've gotten to work with. We've gotten to know each other, and I'm so thankful for that. It's been a pleasure to serve with Mayor Gordon, Mayor Gray, my fellow council members, and all of the hardworking men and women in the Lexington city government. It's been a privilege to serve as the 6th District, and working with all of the constituents to make sure every opinion on the widening of Liberty Road project was heard, developing relationships with neighborhoods and neighborhood businesses, reestablishing neighborhood associations, and continuing to support the ones that exist, and forging relationships with students throughout the 6th District schools. I've been a guest speaker. I hosted the Youth Citizens Academy, and my personal favorite that I will certainly miss is judging the annual Kentucky American Water Science Fair. The path my public service career will take is uncertain, but I am thrilled that the next steps take me to Princeton. So it isn't goodbye. I'm sorry. It's just, and I'll miss you. And I'll be back, and I'll miss you until I'm gone. So I hope you will continue to follow me on Facebook so you can join me through this incredible, amazing journey through Princeton. I wish you all peace, love, and the courage to be part of the solutions and to follow your own dreams. Thank you.
I have something I'd like to present you, and it's in the form of a proclamation. Whereas Councilmember Angela Evans is an outstanding leader who has represented Lexington's 6th Council District since 2015, and whereas Councilmember Evans has fought for her district, advocating for state transportation funding to widen Liberty Road, and whereas she has also fought for her constituents, maintaining high-quality constituent services, and working with citizens to revive neighborhood associations. And whereas Councilmember Evans represented Lexington on MSNBC Live, discussing the civility Lexington displayed while speaking on the removal of 2 Confederate statues from downtown, and whereas she led the council to include a diversity and inclusion statement in the council rules and procedures, and on the revision of the city's Ethics Act. And whereas Councilmember Evans coordinated the very first Mary Todd Park celebration and guided the campaign for installation of Station Nation walking trail signs, now therefore I, Linda Gorton, Mayor of Lexington, do hereby declare today, July the 8th, 2020, Angela Evans Day, and wish her well as she continues her education. I will miss you very much.
When we come back, Parks and Recreation is still bringing you programs this summer. Welcome back to Lexington Now. Although there have been many changes to programming, Parks and Recreation is still offering summer activities for you and your family. We begin with a look at some of the critters you can find at Lexington's own Raven Run.
Hey there, my name's Anna. I work out at Raven Run Nature Sanctuary, and I'm here to talk to you all about some of the critters we have here in the bluegrass. The animal we're going to be talking about today is the coyote, which a lot of people ask about when they come out here to Raven Run. People usually want to know what's the biggest and scariest animal that we have out here, and some people ask if we have bears, which we actually don't. They are in Kentucky, but they're not at Raven Run as of yet. So the biggest predator that we have out here is the coyote. Coyotes in North America were originally found in the Southwest. So if you were to go back in time, maybe 200 or 300 years and visit Raven Run, you would not be seeing coyotes, you would be seeing gray wolves. But as gray wolves left the area, coyotes started moving in. So this is kind of our big predator that we've got out here at Raven Run right now. If you look at coyotes, you can kind of tell that they probably came from somewhere, in the Southwest, somewhere with a lot of deserts. Because if you look at their coloration, they still kind of retain this desert camouflage look. But they've made a pretty good home here in Kentucky and in a lot of the eastern United States. They're pretty much found everywhere from the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere to in towns and cities like Lexington. You could see a coyote downtown or in someone's yard. You might think because coyotes look so much like a wolf that they would behave like a wolf, but they really don't. When you think of a wolf, you probably think of a wolf pack. So a lot of them are working together. You know, they have this really complex social structure, but that's not really quite true of coyotes. You're not really going to see coyotes hunting big animals like elk and bison like a wolf would hunt. You're going to see them hunting rabbits and squirrels and maybe once in a great while a small deer. So coyotes really don't need to have those really complex social structures that you would see in a wolf pack. So a coyote family spends the majority of their time together. And one of the main ways that they communicate is probably one of the things that you think about when you think about coyotes is all of their weird vocalizations. A lot of the times when you hear a coyote howling at night, it sounds like there's like 78,000 coyotes, but really it's probably just the male and female and maybe their kids who are carrying on too. So they have the ability to sound a lot louder and a lot more numerous than they actually are. So even though you might think of coyotes as being a little bit scary or an animal that might make you kind of nervous just because they are a big predator, they're actually a really important part of our ecosystem out here at Raven Run and in the bluegrass, just in terms of filling that role as a major predator and helping keep everything's population stable. But just like any wild animal, no matter how big or small, always remember to give coyotes their space. They're nervous of people and they would rather leave than interact with a person, but just be sure if you see one to observe it in the wild from a safe distance. So we're here today to talk about one of my favorite animals that we have out at the park, the Virginia opossum. So this little guy is Kentucky's only marsupial. In fact, it's the only marsupial in the whole United States, which if you don't know what a marsupial is or you're not quite 100% sure, it's basically like a kangaroo, any type of animal that has a pouch that it keeps its young in until they're old enough to kind of venture out into the world on their own. So when a little baby possum is born, it's like this big. It's the most tiniest little baby you could imagine. And then they spend the next little while in their mama's pouch until they're old enough to climb out. And then a lot of the times they'll be riding around on her back for the next little while. So she still kind of keeps them safe. So they're pretty cute. Not only are they cute, but they fulfill a really important role in the ecosystem. Nobody likes ticks, not a single person in this world. No matter how much you love nature, you probably hate ticks. But don't worry, because the possum is here to help. These guys are little tick-eating machines. They will cruise across your yard, collect all the ticks in it on their fur, and then actually pick them off and eat them, which sounds really gross, but works out pretty well for us. Another thing that's cool about these guys is that they actually have basically an opposable thumb on their feet, which is what we have, and that's what lets us grab things really well. So they're able to grab and hold on to things really well compared to a lot of other small mammals. In fact, you've probably seen pictures of them like hanging off trees and that kind of thing. And they can do that, although not quite as well as you might see in the cartoons. A lot of the times you'll see that picture of a possum hanging from its tail upside down by a tree. And by the time possums get as big as this guy, they're really too heavy to do that. So you might see a baby possum hanging off a tree by its little tail, but a big adult possum like this is probably a little bit too heavy. When they're confronted by a predator or something else that might be kind of scary for them, they will play dead. And what it basically actually is they sort of faint or pass out for a little short period of time. It's not necessarily voluntary. You know, we think that they're kind of play acting dead, but they actually just kind of freeze up for a moment. And then when the predator leaves, they'll kind of regain consciousness. So it's a pretty effective method for them. If you think about it, most predators are not going to be super interested in eating an animal that suddenly falls over when they go to try and capture it. So while a lot of us think possums are pretty awesome, not everyone is a huge fan. After all, they're not maybe the cutest animal. They have a tendency to do things like get into our garbage cans and maybe even up on the porch and get into some cat food. But they are a very important part of our ecosystem, and they provide a vital role in controlling ticks and other pests that can actually hurt us and cause real damage. So in conclusion, if you see one of these guys out and about, just let him mind his business. He's just out there cruising around, eating ticks for you. So this guy is probably one that you recognize as soon as you see it. This is a red fox, and it's one of the most common little predators that you're gonna find in the bluegrass area. A lot of people assume that just because this guy is a member of the dog family and he's related to things like coyotes and wolves and even looks a little bit like a dog, that they're only going to be predators and they're only going to be eating meat. And it is true that they love to munch on, if they can get mice, moles, shrews, that kind of thing, little stuff, maybe even some birds or bird eggs if they can find it. Foxes have a really variable diet. They will definitely get into a garbage can if they can get the lid off. They'll eat berries and fruit, that kind of thing that they find out in the wild. So they're really a little bit more of an omnivore than they are a carnivore. But they are a member of the dog family, and they're one of the smaller ones that you're going to see in this area. We have one other species of fox, so this is a red fox, and we also have the gray fox, which is a little bit smaller. And gray foxes are hard to come by, but red foxes, this is an animal that you could see anywhere from downtown Lexington to out here at Raven Run in the middle of the woods. One of the most common questions that I get from people about red foxes is what they sound like. So what is a fox vocalization actually? Well, it really could kind of be anything. Foxes are usually pretty solitary, but they communicate with other foxes in the area with all kinds of sounds, from screams to barks to yapping like a small dog. Pretty much if you're in the woods at night and you hear something really weird, it's probably a red fox. In spite of the fact that they're really not big enough to catch anything too big, foxes are awesome hunters. One of the adaptations that they have that help them with this is these big, oversized ears. In fact, when you see a fox hunt, you'll see that it mostly uses its ears. You all might have seen those cute videos of foxes hunting out in the snow where they jump up all of a sudden from a standstill and just land on something that's in the snow that they couldn't possibly have seen. That's because they're hunting just using their sense of hearing. So you can kind of get the same effect if you cup your hands behind your ears and listen to someone else talk. You can hear all that sound is funneling towards you and being caught by your hand behind your ear and going down into the ear canal. And it's kind of the same thing with the fox. They have an excellent sense of hearing, and that's pretty much what they're using when they're hunting. So you've definitely heard about red foxes before, and you might even have seen one, but hopefully you learned something new today.
Here are a few of the activities you can enjoy with your friends and family, even if you can't take part in our usual summer fun.
Anthony Jackson with Lexington Parks and Recreation, and today we'll be making dyed play rice. Why dyed colored rice? Because it does not mush into carpet and is easy to vacuum up, unlike sand and other sensory materials, which is an absolute mess. The materials you'll need to make dyed play rice is uncooked rice, Ziploc bags, assorted food coloring, and water. When dealing with food coloring, make sure you wear gloves. The first step, begin by pouring 1 cup of uncooked white rice into your bag. The next step, combine your food coloring with 2 tablespoons of water. I like to use 25 drops so my colors are vibrant. I'll be doing purple colored rice. To make my purple colored rice, I'm going to use 12 drops of blue and 13 drops of red. Now, pour your dye solution and water into the bag. The water helps to saturate the rice grains to use less dye. Seal the bags and have kids mix and shake the grains until fully saturated. Once happy with the color of your rice, open the bag and leave the rice to dry. There's no need to take the rice out of the bag as it will dry in 4 to 6 hours. But to accelerate drying, pour the rice onto parchment paper or a paper plate and allow it to dry for 1 hour. Once dry, return to the bag and have the kids break up the rice. Today, I will be showing you how to make ice cream in a bag. The ingredients you'll need for homemade ice cream in a bag is pure vanilla extract, half and half, sugar, ice cream rock salt, and ice. First step, pour 1 cup of half and half into your small Ziploc bag. Next, add 1½ teaspoon of vanilla to your half and half. Next, you'll add 1 tablespoon of sugar. If you have a sweet tooth like me, you want to add a little bit more. Next, you want to seal the bag firmly so that all the air is out. Mix your solution. In your large Ziploc bag, you want to fill it halfway with ice. Then you'll add 1/4 cup of your rock salt. Then add your small bag filled with your ice cream mixture into the larger bag of ice. Make sure you get some ice on top of the bag. Then you'll want to shake your larger bag for 6 minutes. Be sure to wear gloves while shaking your ice bag because it gets pretty cold. Once your hands have thawed out, take the small bag out of the large bag and rinse with cold water. Be sure to rinse the top of the seal so no salt gets in your ice cream. Your ice cream will be a little icy when you open the bag, so be sure to stir it up a little bit. After stirring, your ice cream will soften up. The last and final step is to enjoy your hard work.
Most regular meetings of City Hall continue to be suspended until further notice due to the pandemic, but some have been meeting virtually. Lex TV is covering several virtual meetings live. Check our website for the most accurate and up-to-date coverage of city business. We're here to keep you up to date on our official COVID-19 response site. Simply click on the banner at the top of our homepage. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media, check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter @LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.